Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are continuing our beginner series by going through top tips for color organization for your supplies and also how I organize my bits and bobs when I am coloring a particular page. Now, as you can see here, I have got all my setup for this page by Johanna Basford in Magical Jungle. So I've got all these bits and bobs that I need here. So we'll go through what I have and why I've got it set up this way. So I'm just going to take you out of the little Duvalaki so you can see better. Okay, so colouring page here, and I do have it on a craft mat because just to protect my table, because this is my dining table at the moment. I like to be fairly central in the house so that I can be socialising with my husband and with my dogs, because I like to colour in of an evening and in the afternoon after I finish my work. So I find that sitting at the kitchen table is just a great way to be social. And let's be honest, there's only my husband and I in the house. We don't really sit at our kitchen table to eat dinner. We just sit on the couch. So and once I've got my colouring book, I then have all my pencil selection in this tray. This is just a tray out of my stack of serving platters. I have so many, so I thought I could just bring one across for sitting my pencils in. And because, especially with this page, because I've got like 8 different colour combinations going, so I've got a lot of pencils. So having them all in this tray I find helps. I don't have to have them in here. I just know exactly what colours I'm using, and I have some spares here ready to go because I do have some baby pencils that will have to be finished soon. And then I have my selection of Ohuhu glitter markers. Well, I've just got the whole pack there because I might use nearly all of them. And a selection of Poscas that I might use, and a selection of gel pens that I'm thinking about using as well. And this is the colour combination that I was working on last night before I finished, which was this. And then I have a post-it note here for when I'm writing down colour combinations, and my colour combination book, which is where I'm getting my ideas from. Now, if you want more information on this journal, I do have another video up in my channel. In fact, I have a whole playlist on a beginner series, which I will link in this video as well. And then this pencil case here is just my loose Prismas too. And then I just have a little journal for just scratching bits of pencil and testing them out. And then of course, just my glasses and all of that. And then I've got my sharpener over here. So it all just sits nice and laid out. The whiteout, I don't use it in my colouring books. It's mainly for my journals if I make a mistake, that kind of thing. So I find having everything laid out is a great way to just focus on your page without having stuff everywhere, and you can stay focused. And I find that as I'm colouring, I'm looking at the other options that I have over here and I'm thinking where they could go. But that's more of a subconscious thought. It's not something that I'm necessarily going, focusing on very much. And I also have, this is a little phone stand. So say if I'm watching YouTube, and then I've also got a little mechanical grey lid here just in case I need to do any markings or anything, which I don't usually, but it's there just in case, and that kind of just lives in this section. Excuse my floors, we are renovating, so they look horrible, and that dirty dog toy over there. Okay, and then I have a mechanical eraser in here, and then a pencil extender for my baby pencils, and a pen, but again, that's usually for that, and then just this to brush away any pencil dust, because I find that I'll just blow it off, but I find that you might get some, fragments from the face on there. And then the other tip that I would suggest is having adequate lighting. Now, I do have a ring light here because I film, but any old light will do, any light that works for you. Yeah, I would suggest you get a little tray for your pencils. What I will be doing is that when I do have a binder pencil case for my Prismas, because I don't at the moment, I'll just store them in their original box. I do plan to keep the box and keep these, and then this will be used for my spare Prismas, because currently I have a whole lot and they're all just sitting in a pencil case, and I would like them to be all laid out in their colour order so that it's easy to identify what I have, and I'll be using the empty trays or the empty inserts to sit my pencils in. I think I'll still use this tray, but I'll just sit the tray on top of this platter because I keep all this in there too. So that way I can keep the pencils in their color order, which isn't applicable for every page, but it is if you're doing something like this, because like I said before, I've got 8 different types of combinations, which I'll write them down here, and they, like, according to my book. And because I've got 8 different combinations, just to keep them in their color order helps a little bit, because at the minute they all just get jumbled, which is, look, it's fine. It's a minor thing. Like, I'm talking about the 1%ers here. So yeah, that's how I set up my coloring, and that's how, in terms of planning every page, once I have my page selected and once I've chosen my colors and my gel pens, then I lay it all out here so that it's all on hand. For my coloring storage, I have this I have this makeup box. I had this makeup box with the intention of using it for makeup, obviously. However, it didn't fit under the vanity in my ensuite. I've got a vanity that, it's like a floating vanity that has a massive gap underneath it. However, this box is too big for that. So I never really got around to putting makeup in it, and it sat in my wardrobe for over a year before I had the idea to use it for my coloring supplies. And I'll just show you. So my coloring supplies aren't big enough to have like a whole desk drawer scenario or room scenario. However, it's enough to put in a box. So it just opens up like that, and I've just got some tabs, store my washi tape, my baby pencils, and a spare extender. These, I don't know what these are. They're just ink from my scrapbooking days. I reckon they would be dry because it's like over 10 years. I've just got them there just in case. I'll probably, when I get some distressing, so I'll probably put those in there in replace of those. And then I just keep my sticky notes. I use sticky notes a lot for coloring, and then I have an old Prisma sharpener, which I don't like, and just a eraser and these are spare inserts for my mechanical eraser, and my Posca pens and my Sharpies. And I've got different size Posca pens. I bought some little ones, but I don't really like them. These ones are better, the bigger ones. And then this, I'll switch around. This opens up, which is great. And then I've got all my gel pens. So you can see it just opens up nicely. So I've got storage down the bottom too for my bigger items. So these are all my gel pens. I do have a lot of gel pens. I buy my gel pens in sets and also individually. So I keep the packaging, it's just in another room, and I just put them all in here so that when I just go through them when I'm choosing colors. And then over here I have all my pan pastel tools and some little spongy bits, and these are makeup brushes that sometimes I use if I just want to do like a different effect with them. And then this here is like for the ones that are dirty, because I don't want to get dust all through this. I want to keep this relatively clean just so I don't have transfer onto every other element in the box. And then I've just got space here for my fixative. Just got a spare ruler, my Ohuhu markers. I've got some water brush markers as well from Kmart. I haven't used them yet. And then this pencil case, I actually think I've just got some fine liners and old calligraphy pens. Yeah, which it's like I could use them, but I don't know. Another handy tip with your alcohol markers and with any marker is to store them on their side, because then you don't have the ink pulling to one end if they're upright. This way it's going to stay nice and even. So this is a great way to compartmentalize everything, to keep everything organized and in order, which is something that I definitely need, because when things aren't organized for me, I feel a bit chaotic. So having everything in a box, I find, is very helpful, and it's also an inexpensive way to store your items. Now, this was from Catch of the Day, I believe, which is an Australian website where you can get some really good deals. You could also find these on Amazon or, I don't know, any kind of storage shop. I believe there would be other containers available, say from Home Depot or Bunnings or Kmart that have these little compartments that kind of lift out. And the things that I like about this size is that they fit the gel pens quite well. So there's space, and they fit the Poscas quite well too. And then that just folds nicely. So that just sits here. Over here I store, I have my pan pastels in a drawer. I've got a couple. I need to use these more. I'm a bit scared. And I also have with me some scrap paper and my plastic inserts, which I've put behind my pages. So my top tips for staying organised while you're colouring is to plan ahead and lay everything out before you start. It doesn't mean that you're not going to change tact halfway through. I often do. It might often say, if I come to the edge of this the end of this page where everything's coloured in and I have these outlines to do, which I want to do in a Hoo markers and Poscas and gel pen, I might get to the end of it and think, oh, there's some colours in here that aren't on the desk that I know that are in my box that I would like to add. It doesn't mean that you're gonna not get up halfway through and go and pick some extra bits and bobs, but it does mean that I can just focus on colouring and everything is nicely laid out. And I find that having everything laid out means that you can think clearly, and because everything's out in its colour palette, you can easily visualise ideas. And I find that it just helps me stay focused because, like I said before, I want to focus on colouring. I don't want to focus on having everything everywhere chaotic all the time. So planning ahead for your colouring pages is a great way to be able to focus and relax. And this can also be applicable if all you have is just a 24 set of pencils and a colouring book. That is more than fine, especially if you're just starting out, because it does take a while to build up the collection. So you might even start off with, say if you just have your 24 set, just pick your colours out and lie them in front of you, like I've got here for the last night's leaf that I was working on. It's this leaf as well. And I'd always recommend, if you're working with Prismas, having your sharpener on hand, because to keep them nice and sharp, you will be sharpening them quite often. So I would recommend a Dial 133 sharpener. It is an investment, but it is well worth it. Before I had this, I was just dealing with so many cracked cores because the pencils are soft. I will do another video in the beginner series on Prismas and some hacks to keep your pencils lasting longer and sharp, but one of them will be with this sharpener. So I would highly suggest you get one of these. I've got them from Amazon. Okay, so storing my colouring books, I have them just on my bookshelf, which is, I arranged it in colour order. I have recently just done a massive cull of books, hence why there's so much space. I plan to add more. So I just keep my colouring books by author. I know it's completely different to how I store them. I put them in colour order up here, but it annoys me when they're not. However, yeah, I've just got Millie's first, and then Kirby's, and then Johanna's, and then Hannah's, and then Layla's. So that's just how I like to store them. And there is a bit of a gap here, so that if I leave some plastic in for a little bit, that's fine. This shelf just fits Leela's books in. So that's how I store all of those. I just keep them out of the way. I like to treat them like I treat my novels. I like to treat my books with respect, and I want them to be long lasting. So I store them away so that dogs can't get them, etc. And yeah, bit of mess over there. I also store my loose pencils in mugs. So these are my old Derwents, and it's a mix of Anko pencils, well, Kmart pencils as well, in a pointer mug because I like my pointer dogs. And so this is just like my green collection. So I store them in mugs, and I used to just have them up on the desk. So this is another way that you can store them, is just in mugs that you're not drinking out of. And yeah, I have a whole bunch of them just in another room, just sitting on the shelf. Another suggestion I would have is these storage boxes, which I just got these from Kmart. So I've stored my little paint bots in here from the paint by numbers. But these would be like the perfect size to fit gel pens, and you can fit they'll just fit the Prismas as well. So if you want to store in something smaller, they're a good investment. I think they're like a couple of bucks. So they're a great option. So these are just some ideas to get you started. There is no pressure to do it the same way that I'm doing or do it the same way that anyone else is doing. These are just some ideas to help you get started and to help you organize your supplies and to look after your supplies as well, because we are investing quite a bit of money into our items, especially with your Prismacolors. They're quite an expensive set of pencils, which I think is worth it in my opinion. When you add up the cost, even though like your colouring books and gel pens individually, they're probably not that expensive. However, when you add it up, there is quite an investment. So I think it's really important to look after your stuff and look after your supplies, especially if you have children. Which I don't, so I feel like I'm lucky in the fact that I can just leave it on the table and it's going to be okay. I don't need to pack it up. However, I do understand that there may be some scenarios where you simply can't just leave everything laid out on the table, so that's why I think storage solutions are a good idea. And there's multiple ways of having this. You can have a dedicated room to your colouring, or you can just have it on a table, or some people even, remember back in the day I used to have, it was like a tray table kind of thing. And I would just sit in front of the TV and colour. However, I prefer sitting at this table because the TV is over there for me and I can just see it, and the couch is over that way. So I feel like I'm central to the heart of the house and I'm not locking myself away, which is great because then my husband and I can spend some time together, and with the dogs too because they like hanging out with us. So yeah, we're massive on just, you know, chilling together and hanging out, so hence why it's all central for me. And this is a great place too for my filming. It's nice and light. I've got a skylight above me and I've got the ring light here. Lay out your items in whatever way makes you feel most comfortable and relaxed and organized, because that's what this whole thing about is, relaxation. It's not about, as I've been saying in some of my videos, it's not about trying to make everything perfect, and it's not about having everything like in a row and optimization and, you know, perfection and Instagrammy and Pinteresty. It's not about that. It's about what's functional for you and what's going to help you be able to achieve what you want to achieve. Whether that's that colouring in a massive page with 8 different colour combinations, or whether it's simply just sitting and relaxing, colouring a smaller element and not thinking about colour combinations and all of that. Whatever functionality you can put together that helps you and your mental health is the way to go. I'm just giving you some of my suggestions of what helps me, because my brain is quite chaotic at the best of times, so I need organization to feel calmer. That's just how it is. I've accepted that's the way my brain is, so I just work with it. So I hope today's video has helped you. Again, this is part of my beginner series for all things colouring, and if you have any tips or suggestions or videos that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments. You can support my channel by liking and subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.